In the intricate web of human relationships, how often do you feel like a cornerstone, always supporting, yet rarely supported? Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. But what happens when the quality of your relationships chips away at that happiness? Life is too precious to spend on people who view you as a means to an end, yet recognizing exploitation often feels like deciphering a hidden code. Imagine this. You constantly lend a helping hand, offer emotional support, or sacrifice your time, only to realize the reciprocity you hoped for is a mirage. These experiences aren't just disheartening, they leave lasting scars on your self-worth. But here's the good news. Stoicism equips us with timeless wisdom to navigate these murky waters. Through this article, we'll uncover 10 key ways to identify if someone is using you, blending Stoic philosophy with practical steps to regain control of your life. Along the way, we'll share stories, pose reflective questions, and invite you to explore the true value of your relationships. Are you ready to reclaim your worth and embrace authentic connections? Let's embark on this transformative journey together. 1. Broken promises, a test of trust and resilience. Broken promises do more than disappoint. They undermine trust, self-worth, and mutual respect. Trust is the cornerstone of meaningful relationships, built on shared values and integrity. When promises are repeatedly broken, they reveal a lack of regard for these principles, leaving emotional damage in their wake. As Epictetus reminds us, what ought one to say then as each hardship comes? I was practicing for this, I was training for this. These moments, while painful, provide opportunities to practice resilience and refine our ability to recognize authentic connections. The impact of broken promises is cumulative. A single unfulfilled commitment might be forgivable, but when it becomes a pattern, it erodes the foundation of trust. It forces us to question not only the reliability of the other person, but also our own worth. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control others' actions, we can control our response to them. Instead of internalizing the disappointment, we must view these breaches as reflections of the other person's values rather than our own failings. J. Gatsby in The Great Gatsby offers a poignant example of the consequences of misplaced trust. Gatsby's life revolves around Daisy Buchanan, whose promises of love and loyalty are ultimately hollow. Her repeated betrayals and unwillingness to prioritize their relationship lead to Gatsby's downfall. This tragic story reminds us that ignoring patterns of unreliability can bind us to illusions, costing us our peace and perspective. To address broken promises, the first step is recognizing patterns. Ask yourself, are these incidents isolated, or do they reflect consistent behavior? Self-awareness is crucial to avoid rationalizing harmful actions. Once patterns are clear, communicate boundaries directly. For instance, you might say, reliability is important to me, and repeated broken promises hurt my ability to trust. This invites an honest dialogue while emphasizing mutual respect. However, when promises continue to be broken despite clear communication, it's necessary to emotionally detach. Detachment isn't about cutting people off completely. It's about protecting your peace of mind and shifting focus to relationships where trust and respect are reciprocal. As Marcus Aurelius advises, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By redirecting energy towards supportive connections, you reinforce your own values and prioritize your well-being. Have you ever faced broken promises that reshaped your perspective? How did you respond, and what did you learn from the experience? Reflecting on such moments can help us build resilience and discernment. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might offer insight and encouragement to someone facing a similar situation. Remember, while we can't control the actions of others, we can choose how we respond, ensuring that our energy is invested in relationships that uplift and honor us. 2. Diminishing comments, recognizing and resisting subtle undermining. Words have immense power. They can inspire confidence or slowly erode it. Diminishing comments, often disguised as jokes or offhand remarks, are a subtle yet potent tool for creating power imbalances in relationships. These comments may appear harmless at first, but over time they chip away at your self-esteem and sense of accomplishment. As Epictetus wisely said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our response to such situations, and our ability to preserve inner peace. Diminishing comments often stem from insecurity or a need for control. They are particularly prevalent in environments where competition or hierarchy exists. Consider a workplace scenario where a mentor constantly undermines their ambitious protégé. Instead of encouraging growth, the mentor belittles the employee's achievements with backhanded compliments like, "That's a good idea, but it's too advanced for you," or "You got lucky with that success." These remarks subtly plant seeds of doubt, making the employee question their capabilities and feel dependent on the mentor for validation. Such behavior reveals the mentor's insecurity as they seek to maintain power by keeping the employee's confidence in check. Recognizing these dynamics is crucial to protecting your self-worth. The first step is to identify the intent behind the comments. Are they genuinely constructive, or do they carry an underlying tone of condescension? Reflection is key. Ask yourself, do these remarks help me grow, or do they make me doubt myself unnecessarily? This awareness allows you to see through the facade and understand that such comments often say more about the other person than about you. Once you've identified diminishing behavior, building resilience becomes essential. As Stoics emphasize, external opinions do not define us. Focus on your achievements and remind yourself of your value, regardless of what others may imply. Journaling your successes or seeking feedback from trusted allies can reinforce your confidence. With this foundation, you can approach diminishing comments strategically. Either choose silence and let the remarks pass, or confront the behavior directly if the situation demands it. For instance, respond calmly but firmly with a statement like, "I appreciate feedback, but it feels like this comment undermines the effort I put into this task." This approach maintains composure while signaling that you are aware of and unwilling to tolerate belittlement. How do you react when someone makes light of your achievements? Do you brush it off or address it directly? Reflecting on these moments can help you develop a balanced response that aligns with your values. Share your experiences in the comments below. Your insights might empower others facing similar challenges. Remember, as Stoicism teaches, we can't control others' words, but we can control how much power we allow those words to hold over us. Choose to respond with clarity and strength, reinforcing your worth and maintaining your inner balance. 3. Unilateral benefit, the cost of one-sided relationships. Relationships thrive on balance. Mutual respect, effort, and care create a foundation for healthy connections. But what happens when that balance is missing? One-sided relationships, where one person consistently gives while the other only takes, can be emotionally draining and deplete your physical and mental resources. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life on what others think of you. This powerful Stoic insight reminds us not to seek validation from those who exploit our generosity, but to protect our energy and focus on relationships built on reciprocity. One-sided relationships often disguise themselves in subtle ways. A friend might habitually ask for favors, but rarely offer help in return. A colleague may consistently rely on your support to complete projects without acknowledging your contributions. Over time, these dynamics shift the relationship into one of dependency and imbalance, leaving you feeling undervalued and resentful. These situations often persist because of an innate human desire to be liked and needed, making it difficult to recognize when someone is taking advantage of your kindness. Consider the story of Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor whose groundbreaking work was often exploited by financiers and competitors. Despite his contributions to modern technology, Tesla was repeatedly underpaid, dismissed, and sidelined by those who sought to profit from his genius without fairly compensating him. His story is a stark reminder of how one-sided relationships can leave even the most capable individuals feeling drained and unappreciated. To break free from one-sided relationships, the first step is to evaluate the balance of effort and benefit in your connections. Ask yourself, are your needs being met, or are you constantly giving without receiving? This honest reflection will help you identify patterns of exploitation. Next, establish boundaries. Communicate your expectations clearly, such as saying, "I'm happy to help, but I'd appreciate more balance in how we support each other." Setting limits signals that your time and energy are valuable and prevents others from taking advantage of your goodwill. Additionally, it's essential to prioritize mutuality. Focus on building relationships where both parties contribute equally, fostering a sense of partnership rather than dependence. Learn to say no when demands become excessive and shift your energy toward people who genuinely appreciate and reciprocate your efforts. As Marcus Aurelius teaches, our time and attention are precious resources that should be directed toward what truly matters. Have you ever found yourself in a one-sided relationship where you felt more like a giver than a partner? How did it affect you, and what steps did you take to address the imbalance? Share your story in the comments below. Your experiences might inspire others to recognize and overcome similar challenges. Remember, a healthy relationship is a partnership, not a transaction. By valuing your energy and establishing boundaries, you can foster connections that uplift and enrich your life while leaving behind those that drain and diminish you. 4. Emotional neglect, a silent strain on relationships. Continuing from the imbalance caused by one-sided relationships, another equally insidious issue is emotional neglect, a form of disregard that often goes unnoticed until it leaves lasting scars. Emotional neglect occurs when someone consistently dismisses or overlooks your feelings, signaling a lack of genuine investment in the relationship. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This Stoic wisdom encourages us to shift our focus inward, prioritizing self-awareness and resilience over seeking validation from those who fail to meet our emotional needs. Imagine this. A father comes home after a long day, eager to share his small victory at work. His family, glued to their devices or preoccupied with their own concerns, barely acknowledges him. Over time, these small moments accumulate, making him feel invisible and undervalued in his own home. Emotional neglect doesn't always manifest as outright rejection. It's often subtle, found in the absence of attentiveness, a lack of meaningful engagement, or a dismissive response to your attempts to connect. It leaves you questioning your importance in the relationship and often leads to feelings of isolation, even when you're surrounded by others. Addressing emotional neglect starts with recognizing its patterns. Ask yourself, am I consistently feeling unheard or dismissed? Do my emotions seem to matter in this relationship? This reflection, though difficult, helps you identify where the imbalance lies. Once acknowledged, the next step is clear communication. For instance, the father in the story might say, "I feel unheard when I share something important, and it makes me feel disconnected from the family. Can we create space to listen to each other more?" Framing your feelings constructively can open the door to change without blame or defensiveness. However, Stoicism also teaches us that while external relationships are important, our inner resilience is paramount. If your efforts to address emotional neglect go unheeded, it may be time to focus on building emotional independence. This doesn't mean closing yourself off from others, but rather finding strength within yourself to thrive despite external shortcomings. Engage in activities that fulfill you, whether it's pursuing hobbies, strengthening bonds with those who do value you, or practicing gratitude for what you do have. By doing so, you regain a sense of control and protect your mental well-being. Have you ever felt unseen or unheard in a relationship? What did you do to address it, and how did it shape your perspective? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might resonate with someone else navigating the same struggles. Remember, emotional neglect is not a reflection of your worth, but of the other person's inability to prioritize connection. By taking ownership of your emotions and choosing relationships that nurture rather than neglect, you reclaim your power and take a step closer to the strength and clarity Marcus Aurelius so beautifully describes. 5. Manipulative guilt, breaking free from emotional control. In relationships, guilt can be a powerful tool, either to inspire positive accountability or, more destructively, to manipulate and control. Manipulative guilt occurs when someone exploits your sense of responsibility or morality to serve their own agenda. This tactic often leaves you feeling trapped, obligated, and drained, as your kindness and empathy are weaponized against you. Epictetus' words, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it," remind us that true strength lies in living authentically and resisting attempts to compromise our values through manipulation. Imagine this scenario. A friend calls you late at night asking for yet another favor. You've helped them countless times before, but this time you genuinely cannot. Instead of understanding, they respond with, "I thought you were the one person I could rely on. I guess I was wrong." Suddenly, you feel an overwhelming need to prove your loyalty despite the personal cost. Manipulative guilt thrives in these moments, turning your empathy into a liability and fostering an unequal dynamic where you're always giving while the other takes without regard. The first step to breaking free is recognizing when guilt is being used as a tool for control. Ask yourself, does this request align with my values and boundaries, or am I being coerced by guilt? Awareness is crucial here, as it allows you to separate genuine needs from manipulative tactics. Once you've identified manipulation, respond with calm but firm boundaries. For example, you could say, "I care about you, but I also need to prioritize my well-being right now. I hope you can understand." This approach communicates your position without escalating conflict or compromising your values. Learning to say no is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. Start with smaller boundaries and gradually build the confidence to address more significant manipulative behaviors. Stoicism teaches us that we are responsible for our actions and thoughts, not for managing the emotions or expectations of others. This principle empowers you to make decisions based on what's right for you, not out of fear of disappointing someone else. Imagine if the friend in the scenario chose to respect your boundary instead of resorting to guilt. This shift would create space for mutual respect and understanding, transforming the relationship into one of equality rather than control. However, if the pattern persists, it may be necessary to reevaluate the relationship altogether. As difficult as this may seem, protecting your emotional well-being should always take precedence over appeasing manipulative behavior. Have you ever felt pressured into doing something you didn't want to because of guilt? How did it affect you, and what steps did you take to address it? Share your story in the comments below. Your experiences might inspire others facing similar struggles. Remember, manipulation only succeeds when we allow it to take root. By setting clear boundaries and living true to your values, you embody the philosophy of Stoicism, reclaiming your autonomy and ensuring that your kindness is never exploited. 6. Lack of genuine support, finding strength in who truly stands by you. True relationships are revealed not in moments of ease, but in times of struggle. Genuine support isn't measured by grandiose gestures or fleeting words of encouragement. It lies in consistent presence, a quiet but steady reassurance that someone is there when life feels heaviest. When support is absent, especially during critical times, it exposes a lack of emotional investment and forces us to reassess the relationships we hold dear. As Seneca so wisely stated, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. His words remind us that reliance on unreliable relationships only anchors us to disappointment. Instead, happiness stems from inner strength and the clarity to discern who truly stands by us. Consider the story of Emma, a young entrepreneur who risked everything to launch her dream business. When she faced unexpected setbacks, financial losses, and personal doubt, she turned to her closest friends for comfort. Yet, one by one, their responses revealed their lack of genuine care. "Maybe you should quit while you're ahead," one said dismissively. Another, consumed with their own priorities, barely returned her calls. Emma's isolation in these moments of need wasn't just painful, it was a revelation. It wasn't failure that crushed her spirit, but the realization that the people she had trusted weren't willing to weather the storm with her. This stark truth is something many of us encounter, and it serves as a necessary wake-up call. True relationships are built on reciprocity and resilience, not convenience. To address the absence of genuine support, the first step is self-awareness. Reflect on the dynamics of your relationships. Who is consistently present when I need them most? Who disappears or dismisses my struggles? These questions provide clarity and help identify patterns of neglect. Once recognized, honest communication is vital. A conversation like, "I've felt unsupported during difficult times, and it's made me question the balance in our relationship," invites understanding without assigning blame. This dialogue can foster growth if the other person is willing to engage. Yet, Stoicism teaches us to prepare for the reality that not everyone will rise to the occasion. When support remains absent despite your efforts, it's time to recalibrate. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Lean into your own resilience. Cultivate self-reliance by seeking fulfillment in practices that empower you, journaling your victories, connecting with mentors or allies who value you, and finding solace in moments of solitude. By doing so, you shift your focus from those who fail you to the strength that resides within you. Have you ever felt abandoned in a time of need? How did it reshape your view of that relationship, and what did you learn from the experience? Share your story in the comments below. It may inspire someone who feels alone in their struggles. Remember, relationships that lack genuine support should not define your worth. By surrounding yourself with people who show up and by cultivating inner strength, you reclaim your power and take a vital step toward true happiness, as Seneca envisioned. 7. Persistent competition, from rivalry to true collaboration. Competition in relationships, when healthy, can inspire growth and push us toward our potential. But when it becomes persistent and toxic, it undermines trust, harmony, and mutual support. A relationship overshadowed by rivalry turns partners, friends, or colleagues into opponents rather than allies. Marcus Aurelius warned us of the dangers of passive injustice, writing, "You can commit injustice by doing nothing." Ignoring constant competition in relationships perpetuates the imbalance, allowing it to erode the connection further. Addressing this dynamic requires courage, self-awareness, and a commitment to fostering collaboration over conflict. Picture two artists, Sarah and Liam, who work in the same creative agency. Both are ambitious and talented, yet their dynamic is defined by a subtle, unspoken rivalry. When Sarah receives praise for her designs, Liam's response is lukewarm at best, masked with a polite smile. Similarly, Sarah finds herself resentful when Liam lands a major client. Their competitiveness spills over into meetings, where they subtly undermine each other's ideas, vying for the spotlight. Over time, what began as a professional partnership turns into a silent war, poisoning their mutual respect and hampering the team's overall success. This scenario reflects a common truth. Unchecked competition destroys collaboration and makes growth unsustainable. To address persistent competition, the first step is self-reflection. Ask yourself, is this rivalry being driven by my insecurities, or is it imposed by the other person? Recognizing the root of the issue helps you understand whether you're contributing to the dynamic or simply reacting to it. Next, shift your focus to shared goals. For instance, Sarah and Liam could have reframed their relationship by asking, how can we combine our strengths to create something greater than we could achieve alone? Redirecting energy toward collaboration rather than competition fosters a sense of partnership and reinforces mutual respect. However, not all rivalries can be resolved through dialogue. Stoicism teaches us to maintain our integrity even when faced with hostility. If you find yourself constantly battling someone who sees you as a threat rather than an ally, consider setting boundaries. Limit the interactions that fuel competition and focus on your personal growth. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Use the challenge of rivalry to refine your craft, solidify your values, and find fulfillment in your efforts rather than in external validation. Have you ever faced persistent competition in a relationship? Did it motivate you to improve, or did it drain your energy and goodwill? Share your experience in the comments below. It could help someone navigate their own competitive dynamics. Remember, competition can either divide or elevate. The choice lies in how we approach it. By seeking collaboration, prioritizing shared values, and focusing on personal excellence, you can transform rivalry into an opportunity for growth and create relationships built on mutual success rather than conflict. 8. Selective availability, recognizing conditional relationships. True connection is built on consistent presence, not selective availability. Relationships where someone only shows up when it benefits them reveal an imbalance in priorities and intentions. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way reminds us that even the obstacle of inconsistency can serve as a guide to greater clarity and stronger boundaries. When someone's availability is conditional, it prompts us to re-evaluate the relationship and focus on where our energy is truly valued. Consider the story of Amanda and her friend, Laura. For years, Amanda believed Laura to be a dependable confidant, always full of charm and warmth during social events or when needing advice. But as Amanda faced challenges, a demanding work project, a family illness, Laura's presence became sporadic. She was unreachable when Amanda needed emotional support, but reappeared when she needed help planning a vacation or hosting a party. Amanda began to see a pattern. Laura's availability hinged on convenience, not commitment. This realization was painful, but it illuminated a critical truth about the nature of their friendship. Selective availability reveals true priorities. When someone is present only when it aligns with their agenda, it's a signal to reassess the relationship. Ask yourself, does this person value me as a whole, or do they engage only when it suits their needs? This awareness helps you distinguish between meaningful connections and those that drain your emotional energy. Once identified, communicate your concerns. For example, Amanda could say, "I've noticed we're not as connected as I'd like. It feels like you're here when things are easy, but less so when I'm struggling. Can we talk about how we support each other?" Yet, as Marcus Aurelius teaches, we cannot control others' actions, only our response to them. If the pattern persists, set clear boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Redirect your focus toward relationships where consistency and reciprocity thrive. Stoicism encourages us to view obstacles as opportunities for growth. In Amanda's case, Laura's selective presence highlighted the importance of nurturing connections with those who are genuinely supportive and prioritizing self-reliance when needed. How do you handle relationships where someone is only there when it's convenient for them? Have you ever addressed this dynamic? And if so, how did it shape the relationship? Share your insights in the comments below. Your perspective could resonate with someone navigating a similar challenge. Remember, genuine relationships are built on mutual effort and availability, not convenience. By identifying and addressing selective presence, you reclaim your time and energy, directing it toward relationships that truly enrich your life. 9. Absence in critical moments, revealing the depth of true connections. The strength of a relationship isn't measured by its best days, but by how it endures during the worst. When someone is absent in your moments of greatest need, it signals a lack of depth and commitment in the connection. Seneca captures this truth perfectly. Fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men. Hardship is the crucible that reveals the true nature of our relationships. Those who stand by you in critical moments are the ones who genuinely value you. Conversely, those who disappear during these times expose their lack of investment. Picture this. Ethan, a passionate entrepreneur, encounters financial struggles while launching his dream business. He turns to his business partner Jake for support, expecting solidarity in this shared vision. Instead, Jake distances himself, refusing to shoulder responsibility when their project faces obstacles. "I can't risk my resources right now," Jake says, excusing his absence. Ethan is left to navigate the crisis alone, realizing too late that Jake was only committed when success seemed certain. This experience reshapes Ethan's understanding of trust and teaches him the hard but valuable lesson of relying on those who demonstrate loyalty through action, not words. Absence in critical moments doesn't just reveal others' priorities, it forces us to reassess our own. Ask yourself, who truly shows up when life gets hard? who consistently proves their reliability and who retreats at the first sign of difficulty. Identifying these patterns allows you to recalibrate your expectations, ensuring that your energy is directed toward relationships that are reciprocal and supportive. This reflection can be uncomfortable but ultimately liberating, as it sheds light on the connections worth nurturing. Once you've recognized the absence, the next step is honest communication. For example, Ethan might say to Jake, "I needed your support during a challenging time, and it felt like you weren't there. Can we talk about what partnership means to both of us?" Conversations like these can clarify expectations and in some cases restore balance to the relationship. However, Stoicism teaches us to prepare for the possibility that not everyone will rise to meet the occasion. In such cases, cultivating self-reliance becomes essential. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By focusing on your resilience, you turn disappointment into a stepping stone for growth." Have you ever faced a critical moment where someone you counted on wasn't there for you? How did it affect your perspective on that relationship, and what steps did you take to move forward? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might offer clarity and comfort to others navigating similar challenges. Remember, while absence in hard times can be painful, it also provides an opportunity to strengthen your inner resolve and surround yourself with those who genuinely care. Relationships forged through shared struggles are the ones that endure, bringing meaning and mutual respect into your life. 10. Lack of reciprocity, restoring balance to relationships. Healthy relationships thrive on balance. Mutual effort, respect, and care create the foundation for meaningful connections. When one person consistently gives while the other takes, this imbalance creates frustration, resentment, and emotional fatigue. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "We are born for cooperation, as are the feet, the hands, the eyelids, and the jaws." This profound Stoic insight highlights the importance of reciprocity as the natural order of human relationships. When this balance is absent, it's a sign to reassess and potentially redirect your energy toward connections that value you equally. Consider the story of Lily and her best friend, Mia. For years, Lily has been the emotional backbone of their friendship, offering a listening ear, driving Mia to appointments, and even helping her financially during tough times. Yet, when Lily needs support, Mia's excuses pile up. She's too busy, too overwhelmed, or simply unavailable. Over time, Lily begins to feel that their friendship is more of a one-sided obligation than a mutual connection. This dynamic isn't just unfair, it's unsustainable. Relationships that lack reciprocity leave the giver feeling depleted and undervalued, while the taker remains oblivious to the toll their behavior takes. To address this imbalance, the first step is self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I giving more to this relationship than I'm receiving? Does this connection feel supportive and equal? Recognizing a lack of reciprocity is essential for understanding whether the relationship aligns with your values and emotional needs. Once you've identified the imbalance, communicate your feelings openly but constructively. For example, Lily might say, "I value our friendship, but I've felt like I'm always the one giving without much in return. I'd love to find a way for us to support each other more equally." Framing the conversation with care invites dialogue rather than defensiveness, opening the door to potential change. However, Stoicism teaches us to accept that not all relationships will meet our expectations. If your efforts to restore balance are ignored or dismissed, it may be time to set boundaries. This doesn't mean ending the relationship immediately, but rather adjusting your involvement to protect your energy. Marcus Aurelius advises, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By prioritizing self-respect and focusing on connections that uplift rather than drain you, you take control of your emotional well-being. Imagine how different Lily's life could look if she shifted her focus toward friends who reciprocate her kindness and care. Her energy would be spent on relationships that enrich her life, fostering a sense of mutual support and trust. Have you ever felt like you were giving too much in a relationship without receiving the same in return? How did you handle the situation, and what lessons did you learn? Share your experience in the comments below. It could provide insight for someone else struggling with the same challenges. Remember, relationships should be partnerships, not one-sided investments. By recognizing and addressing the absence of reciprocity, you take a crucial step toward fostering connections that honor your worth and create a balance of giving and receiving. The journey through these 10 signs of exploitative relationships has hopefully illuminated one critical truth. Your worth is not defined by how others treat you, but by how you value yourself. Relationships that drain your energy, erode your confidence, or fail to reciprocate your efforts are not reflections of your shortcomings. They are opportunities to reclaim your power and prioritize your well-being. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can control how we respond to them, and that response defines the quality of our lives. Each of the 10 signs, whether it's broken promises, diminishing comments, or a lack of genuine support, represents a challenge and a chance to grow. These moments push us to confront uncomfortable truths, set boundaries, and cultivate relationships built on mutual respect and authenticity. They also remind us that the most valuable connection we have is with ourselves. By embracing Stoic principles like self-awareness, resilience, and emotional independence, we can navigate the complexities of human relationships with clarity and strength. But change requires action. As you reflect on the relationships in your life, ask yourself, which connections uplift you? Which ones drain you? Are there patterns you've been ignoring? Take a moment to write down one relationship that feels unbalanced and one step you can take to address it. This small act of reflection can be the beginning of a transformative shift. Remember, it's not about perfection, but progress. As Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." By living authentically and aligning your actions with your values, you create space for relationships that nurture your growth and happiness. Let go of what doesn't serve you and invest in what does. What has this exploration taught you about your own relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight might inspire someone else to take the first step toward reclaiming their energy and self-worth. Together, let's build a life guided by mutual respect, intentional action, and the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Stay true to your values and remember, you have the power to shape your relationships and ultimately your happiness.